The humidity of the East Texas night clung to Elias Thorne like a second skin, thick and cloying. He heard the tales in a dusty Jefferson antique shop. The shopkeeper's voice hushed with a mixture of local pride and genuine fear. Whisper Path, the cabin, the voices. Elias, a travel writer with a penchant for the macabre and a healthy dose of skepticism, had been instantly hooked. Midnight had chimed from the distant courthouse clock an hour ago. His heavy-duty flashlight cut a swathe through the impenetrable black of the pine and cypress forest. The air was still, unnaturally so, the usual chorus of crickets and frogs eerily absent. He found the trailhead easily enough, a barely perceptible break in the undergrowth, marked by a rotted wooden sign, its letters long since surrendered to moss and time. "Whisper Path," he muttered, a thrill coursing through him. The path was narrow, choked with fallen leaves that muffled his footsteps, making the silence even more profound. 10 minutes in, a cool draft, smelling of damp earth, and something else, something faintly sweet, like overripe fruit, wafted past him. And then he heard it. Elias! The voice was soft, a mere breath on the wind, but unmistakable. It was his grandmother, Sarah, who'd passed when he was a boy. He froze, his heart hammering. His logical mind screamed. Wind, auditory hallucination, suggestibility. But the sheer familiarity, the loving cadence. "Elias, come closer, dear." He swallowed, his skepticism wavering. He took a hesitant step, then another. The path seemed to draw him onward. Other voices joined, wisps of sound weaving through the trees. His childhood dog, Buster, a joyful bark he hadn't heard in 30 years. His college roommate, David, lost too soon in a car accident, laughing that infectious laugh. Each call was a tug, a velvet snare. He knew, intellectually, this was impossible. But the longing, the sudden, sharp grief mixed with a desperate hope, was a potent drug. The path opened into a small, moon-dappled clearing. Before him stood the ruins of a cabin. The roof had mostly caved in, timbers jutting like broken ribs. Vines snaked through the empty window frames. And the air here was heavy with that sweet, cloying scent, stronger now. "We're here, Elias. We've been waiting." His grandmother's voice, seemingly emanating from the cabin's dark doorway. He stepped onto the rotted porch, his flashlight beam dancing. Dust motes swirled. And then he saw it. It wasn't human. In the center of what was once the main room, a great, pulsating mass filled the space. It was a tapestry of fungal hyphae, bioluminescent and glowing with an inner, sickly green light. Interwoven were strands of what looked like dark, ancient wood, gnarled and twisted. It rose from the packed earth floor, spreading like a grotesque living tree, its branches reaching into the decaying structure of the cabin itself, merging with it. Embedded within its translucent, fungal flesh were faces, not distinct, but like fleeting impressions in water, shifting and reforming. He saw a flicker of his grandmother's kind eyes, David's lopsided grin, even the eager snout of Buster. They were like memories trapped in amber, fueling the whispers. This was the source. This thing. Its surface rippled, and a tendril of glowing fungus, no thicker than his finger, extended slowly towards him. The sweet scent intensified, almost suffocating. "Join us, Elias. Stay with us." This time, the voices were a chorus, synthesized, yet achingly familiar. He realized with dawning horror what it was. Not ghosts. This was something primordial. Something that had rooted itself here decades, perhaps centuries ago, learning, listening, and evolving a perfect lure. It didn't just mimic voices. It seemed to pluck the memories, the emotional essence, from those who strayed too close, incorporating them into its being, using them to draw in more. The cabin wasn't just its lair. It was part of it, a framework for its growth. The waiting for decades wasn't for him specifically, but for anyone. The tendril was inches from his face. He could feel a coldness emanating from it, a promise of blissful oblivion of reunion. The temptation to let it touch him, to finally silence the grief, was immense. But the folklorist in him, the skeptic, finally clawed its way through the emotional haze. This wasn't reunion, it was consumption. With a choked cry, Elias stumbled back, knocking over a rusted bucket that clanged loudly against the floorboards. The sound, harsh and metallic, seemed to momentarily disrupt the entity. The faces flickered, the whispers faltered, turning into a discordant hiss. He didn't need a second invitation. He turned and fled, crashing back through the undergrowth, the sweet scent clinging to him, the chorus of confused, then angry, then pleading whispers chasing him through the oppressive darkness. He didn't stop running until he burst from the treeline, gasping, onto the dew-slicked asphalt of the county road, the distant lights of Jefferson a beacon of sanity. Elias Thorne never wrote about Whisper Path. Some legends, he learned, were best left undisturbed. And sometimes, when the wind blew just right, even miles away from that forgotten trail, he would catch a faint, sweet scent on the breeze and hear a soft, familiar voice call his name, a chilling reminder of what still waited in the deep, dark woods.